Go.
All right, let's start with a anterior chain or front of the body mobility stretch. So start with the hands, pressure on the handles, straight up overhead, and then alternate, stepping forward. When I step forward, my hands should come back behind. I should create that bow shape on the front side of my body. You can see it better here. So this is stretching out everything on the left side of my body from my shoe up to my shoulder. And just alternate through those with a little hold, about 10 aside. All right, I'm going to turn it on this way. This is all unilateral work, so we're going to go to a single arm pull. So nice wide stance, feet out in front of you, full extension at the elbow. Try to keep this shoulder from moving. If you want to challenge yourself more, hands straight out. Do 10 to 15 on each side. Just make sure when you switch, you stay at a nice right angle to your anchor point. So 10 to 15 on each side, no rotation, full extension. Then we'll take it to lower body, unilateral, a pistol squat. So a few cues here. Start with the foot out in front of you, because if you keep it up underneath you, it's going to be more difficult than most of you can do. So keep the foot forward a bit and use these, but as little as possible. So I'm putting 1 or 2 fingers on these. Push through that single leg squatting heel. If you need to, keep this heel down just for balance. So do 10 to 15 on each side, maybe alternate 5, 5 till you get there. Now I'm going to take it back to pulling, but we're going to pull with both hands and create a little instability. So 1 foot off the ground, 15 pulls. It'll take a few before you center it. So do 15 pulls with each foot up. Let's take it to a shoulder stretch. So flip the hands around, take it here. We did the same stretch with the bilateral exercises. Hips forward, shift from right heel to left heel, 15, 20 times, at least 45 seconds. So we're trying to open up the front side of the shoulder. That gets us ready for a single arm press. If you have a TRX, make sure you pull it through and it catches on that ring behind you. Also make sure you're at a nice right angle. If you have a mirror, you can see it. Otherwise, just turn around and look at the angle. If it's way too far one side or the other, it's going to pull you off center. Opposite hand behind your back, wide stance, 10 to 15 each side. So I'm trying to keep my left shoulder from dipping here. If you can't complete the press, you got to keep walking forward. Okay, we're going to do rocket squats. We did these in the bilateral video, but this time we're doing unilateral rocket squats. So you can alternate them. I prefer to do them all on one side. Get way back, straps under your armpits, thumbs forward, elbows fully flexed. So step back, tap the toe, and come back forward. So I'm really trying to disload that one quad and hamstring. Here, real light tap of the toe, and drive forward. So 10, 15, 20 of those. Come up out of it, and same thing we did with pulling, we're going to do with pressing. I'm going to go to a bilateral press, so both hands, but I'm going to center and lift 1 foot here. So keep 1 foot off the ground. And do 10 to 15 with that foot off the ground. Same thing though, if you can't complete the press, just walk it forward a bit. Keeping the foot off the floor. So let's spin it back around and go back to lower body. So I'm alternating for the most part between upper body and lower body. So a couple of fingers on each one. Keep your weight up over your foot. So don't lay back into this one. So it's a lateral step. So a single leg squat, I'm trying to get my hip down to knee level, and I'm also trying to get that mobility on that trail leg here. Only pull yourself out of it if it allows you to get yourself down in a little bit deeper. Pause and take it the other way. So I'm staying up over top. I'm not laying back into this. There should be a little flex in your elbow. These should be loose. And do about 10 or 15 each way. We're trying to promote that mobility here and challenge the single leg in a lateral squat in that frontal plane. Okay, let's go back to upper body. So bring it back around this side. Again, let one go. We're going to go to a single arm. We did these bilaterally in the bilateral video. So This time, we're gonna bring that arm back down with constant pressure against the handle. Straight up overhead. So if you were to look at me from the side, I'm staying as vertical as possible here. My fingertips should be a straight line right down to my heels here. Keep that pressure, bring it back, so the scapula is going through that abduction and adduction in that frontal plane. So great for mobility in each shoulder. And do about 10 on each shoulder. So let's turn it back around, go back to lower body. So huge cue here. Walk back until the straps are locked out. There's no slack in the strap. Your hands should be directly out from your shoulders, your feet right up underneath you. Then you're in the position to keep pressure on the handles as you charge forward. So in yoga, they call this a single leg stretch. I can keep my standing leg knee slightly bent. My toe on my up foot should be directly to the floor. So from the side, I should look like a T. And bring it back up. Keep the pressure on the handles. Drive forward, pressure on the handles. Pause, toe straight down. Try to avoid it from opening up. And do about 10 or 15 on each side. Just take your time on those. Okay, let's go into a little bit of rotation, unilateral upper body rotation. So let one of them go, make sure it catches on the ring, if this is the TRX unit that you have. So we're gonna try to get this shoulder to go through traction, 180 degrees of traction here, so in the transverse plane. So I'm here, I'm going to allow my knees to bend slightly, look back at that, because we're always trying to get our cervical spine to follow our mid-spine, and then pull up through and reach up. So I'm getting the shoulder to go through almost a 180 degree turn. Same thing on this one, it just doesn't have the traction. Look back and pull up. 10 to 15 on each side. Take it slow, but make sure your eyes follow your hands. Let's go back to lower body, and then we're going to go into that transverse plane or rotation for the hips. So we're going into internal, external rotation. And it's up to you. We can alternate these or do all 10 to 15 on one side. So light pressure here. A little bit of bend in the knee. Bring that back leg around. Lay your shoelaces down so I'm keeping the load on this glute. I'm trying to load this glute to that rotation of the hip. Your knee is going to tell you if you've rotated too far or how far you can go. Alternate it if you want. Just lay the shoelaces down. I should have bend in the knee, and I'm not using these much. Don't rely on them. Don't lay back into them. Let that glute go into rotation and manage that motion. Okay, back around this way. Single arm press with rotation. Again, let it catch on the ring. Make sure you get a nice right angle. Definitely a wide stance here. Instead of preventing that shoulder from rotating, now I want the shoulder to rotate. But we have to complete the single arm press. So it's a 90-degree turn of this shoulder. Here, hips forward, and back out of it. So press. As I come down into my single arm push-up, I'm rotating 90 degrees, looking at my hand, rotating out of it as I come up.
You should do another one.
Okay, 10 to 15 on each side. Take it slow. Okay, grab both handles. We'll alternate these. So definitely get a view from the front there to show the lateral flexion. So there's a lot of confusion on this one. The key is you got to keep the opposite hand knuckles against the other shoulder, so the down shoulder. So I'm pressing straight up overhead. Again, from the side, I'm in a nice straight line, fingertips down to my hips, down to my heels. Straight up, pressure against both handles, but this one is staying against my shoulder. Into lateral flexion. I should see on my right side, that same side, I should see that nice C curve. I'm opening up my ribs right down into my hip. Bring it back, constant pressure, back down, anchor the right, press the left up, constant pressure. Drive left side lateral flexion. By anchoring this side, as soon as this side comes away, I lose that traction, that distraction. So press across, nice C curve in the spine. So this is a stretch as much as it is a frontal plane shoulder press. And alternate through 10 to 15 of those on each side, nice and slow. Okay, let's go into a little bit of rotation for each shoulder. So one strap handle, outside hand grip, inside leg forward. So we're going to go through spine rotation and shoulder rotation here. Internal to external, external back to internal. So elbow high, fall down into it, Watch your hand. The anchoring of my left foot forward anchors my hip and forces the rotation into mid-spine and into my shoulder. Keep the elbow high, pull back up. If it's too difficult to fully extend at this elbow, move your feet away from the anchor point a bit more. Put yourself in a position to be successful into that rotation. So it's a little strength work for the pulling shoulder, and it's a stretch in that transverse plane for everything from the hips up to the shoulders, right into your cervical spine. So let your eyes follow your hands. 10 to 15 on each side. Take it nice and slow. And that's it.